Hello, welcome to the Crafty Maven Getaway Podcast. This is your host, Hannah.
And I'm Megan, and I'm back. Yay!
Today is episode 22, I believe.
Oh.
But I don't know, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's 22. So welcome to episode 22. Today we are going to be talking about coming back to scrapbooking after you've taken a considerable amount of break. So I know this kind of goes along with some of the stuff that we've been talking about while you were gone. I did a series about your creative identity and really kind of digging in quite deeply into your reason why, and like just kind of settling in and figuring out who you are as a creator scrapbooker, and letting that be your guide when you come to your scrapbooking table. But I thought today, since we've taken a break here at the Crafty Maven because life,
Yes, right.
so we've had some really fun stuff going on this summer, and as we kind of start ending the summer, kind of trying to get back into the routine. And I know you started wanting to come back and scrapbook, and I know you've been talking to me a lot about that and having this like newfound joy. So tell me something that you've learned while you took this break. Tell me something you learned.
Well, I think the biggest thing is just to trust my instincts, and because I could tell before I started taking a break that I was getting really stressed out. Like, I was trying to do the podcast, I was trying to do YouTube, I was trying to do like normal life. And I could tell like I was just all over the place, and I just wasn't feeling good about like life anymore, and it was just really stressful and stuff. So, I mean, I've learned and especially now, I think like every year you always learn something new, like whether it's in your real life or hobby life or whatever, but really just trust my instincts, I know when I'm out of sorts. I know, and I should trust myself. But I feel like in this industry, and with a lot of like hobbies or, like things that you want to do for fun, you kind of get to that point where you're just going through the motions. And I think because I just wanted to be there and do it so bad that I was just going through the motions and I wasn't really enjoying it anymore. Like, it became not a hobby. Like, it wasn't fun. It was more stressful because it's like just adding to my list of to-dos,
Yeah.
And so it was like really nice to not have that extra thing and just to be. And if I had time or, whatever, I could do it, or I could be there and I could do it for myself and not for other people. Because I think YouTube is like the other thing. Like, there's that, oh, I have to do this. Like, people are counting on me. And it's just kind of like, okay, let's just step back and take that out of the equation. So just to trust myself, like, I know when things are off, and it was good. It was good.
I think sometimes we get caught up in the what ifs, like, what if I stop? Like, will I stop hating? Or will I stop loving scrapbooking? Am I gonna hate it? Are people gonna forget me? I don't know. Especially when you are on YouTube or social media, and that's a big part of like how you share and the community and stuff. And I know for you, you've been a little bit disconnected from the community probably the last few years, I would say. Probably since I've stopped when I stopped scrapbooking, and then I know you were still doing YouTube and you still had some people, but like a lot more. Your life has just gotten a lot busier, which, I mean, it happens. We have those seasons. And I think that's one thing that I know you talked about when we were kind of talking about this podcast, like coming back to the podcast. And that like the remembering of what season you're in, and that it can look different, and how your reason why just kind of changes. Just sometimes we forget that our reason why the perspective of it can change. It might not, because I know you were saying, I don't think my reason why changed. So maybe go into that a little bit. Like, tell me what you learned about your reason why while you took a break.
Well, because like my reason why I'm doing this for myself, I'm doing this for my sanity. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I'm not doing it for my kids. I'm not doing it for posterity, like, I'm still doing it for myself. I think it's just like I was able to recollect myself and understand, okay, like, these are the things that I like to do, because I've noticed, like, I like to color now. So now I've kind of started coloring. Like, I actually have a coloring app on my phone. And the thing that I've decided is, like, if I do it on my phone, it's okay. Like, that's still crafty. Or if all I do is make an intro image for a YouTube series or something like that. Like, there's so many different types of being creative, and it's not just scrapbooking. And I think I've realized, okay, like, if I hang out with my family and we do something crafty, like, that fulfills my crafty need just as much as sitting down and scrapbooking. And then I have that extra piece of, whatever we did as a family, or like for my bachelorette party, we went and did like a painting. And like now I have that painting and I can look at it. Yeah, I was going to say it's right behind you. And so it's like filling that box, but in more ways than just sitting down and filming a scrapbook layout process video or whatever. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I've kind of taken away from the last few months is, like, there's so many ways to be crafty or creative or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that is what I need to focus on. Like, it doesn't have to be me sitting at my desk making a scrapbook layout.
Well, and like I've noticed, like with the component of work and crafting, is that some days I don't have the energy to do something at my desk, but I can sit and do something while I'm relaxing, like you said, kind of like coloring or designing something, which I know I haven't done in a while, but like just kind of reframing my mind of like that, to not pigeonhole what I want scrapbooking to be. Like, it's almost like fitting that piece in a puzzle that doesn't fit, right? And that's okay, because it's a different season, right? And right now you need those other things too. And I think that's the thing, is sometimes we forget that we need those other things. We think, oh, well, I absolutely love scrapbooking, so I have to do that every single time. I have to get this amount of layouts done. I have to get this many. If we do videos, I got to get this many videos, or I got to share this or that or whatever. And we kind of lose that it's about our growth and really learning who we are as we go through it, right? And I know I'm in a season in my life where I'm really realizing, like, I got to slow down sometimes and just take the time to, like, not to say that I didn't enjoy the things that I was doing and wasn't living in the moment when I was doing it, but really even more than that, on my off time, taking it slower, like being okay with those other things and really letting those fulfill me as well. And it's just overall, for me personally, that's been a lot better. And it's made, when I come to my desk, means so much more, because I'm bringing all of that, all of who I am. I'm not like detaching different elements of me and like being like, oh, I'm this one way when I'm in my room and I'm this one way when I'm out doing other things, And so there's a joy when you find that, I feel like. I don't know if.
Oh yeah, totally.
So, okay, let's see. Trying to think some of the things that we wanted to talk about.
I know, that was a lot.
Okay, so So I know you were saying your reason hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because I know you answered that question kind of. So tell me if there has been anything else that you've just kind of learned. Well, and like, what were you doing when you were on your break?
Well, I think one of the other things was like being more intentional. So I haven't actually scrapbooked like I'm coming back slowly, and I haven't scrapbooked a layout since, gosh, I don't even remember, May, June-ish.
It might have even been like the end of
I was
April.
gonna say it might have been April. I don't remember. I don't even remember the last layout I made. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think it was April actually. And sorry. I'm like really focused on that now. So yeah. So I haven't even like made a layout, but I've been thinking about it because Ashley and I just got married, and you and I have been talking about doing like a wedding series on YouTube. And like I've been thinking about it for at least a week, and probably a little bit more. Yeah, I was
last week really about like I want to get a plan.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that you've been taking your time, because I wanted to be like, oh, let's jump in, and then I realized, wait, if I jump in, then I'm jumping into something more. This is the me learning that I have to take my time and do things like intentionally, because I get so excited that I'm like, oh, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. That's how I am. I want to jump in and do it. And I'm realizing that I need to take the time to plan it, and be, not to say that like there's nothing wrong with like just jumping in when you're excited, because sometimes that can stop you too, right? So there's like you can overthink it, and you don't want to stop. Like you want to use that momentum to push you forward, but you don't want to get caught up in the rapids because you went out too far too, right? So it's this whole thing of
yeah, you got to find like the happy medium between like making a plan and acting on it, and instead of like making a plan and then keep planning and then never doing. And that's what, like, because I've been kind of like you before, like we decide to do something and we jump in, and then it's kind of like it gets away from you. And I think that this time around, being more intentional and like planning this out and just being like, okay, in my off time, what I'm doing is I'm running through all the details. I'm talking it out with you. I'm, sitting at work and I'm editing photos if I have time, or, like sitting on the couch, hanging out with the family, editing photos, like, and I'm really taking the time and being intentional. And I think that that's what's different this time around, is now that I'm coming back, I'm not just jumping into the water. I'm making a plan, and I'm happy with how it's going, and I'm being more intentional. And now I print off my photos at home instead of sending them out. And so I have a little bit more control over that. So if I'm really excited about a couple of photos, I can print all of those off and then make a plan when I'm going to sit down and do it, and then do it,
Yeah. And I know that's one thing I love to do, is print off like that week, print off, a handful of pictures each week. It's like sometimes I try to pick a certain amount of photos. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna fill up 3 8.5 by 11 page sheets of photo paper, and I'm just gonna print those out, because the thing is I know I'm not gonna be able to scrap all those, but I'm excited and I want the options, because God forbid,
options are good.
Give myself options. But then I have those ready, and they're just ready, and I still have a box full of ones. And of course, now we're planning to do our series, so now I'm like thinking, okay, what photos do I want to print off of those, because I didn't print off any of those. Do you feel the need to like make up for lost time and scrapbook all of the things from your break, or how do you feel about that? Because I know that sometimes can be an issue when people stop and then they start back up and they feel like, oh, I gotta catch up, if you will. I mean, we all should know that there really is no being caught up.
Exactly.
That I hear in the homeschooling community with homeschooling my kids is you're never going to be caught up, because what you are doing and what the norm is not the norm. It's not really normal. Like, is it normal?
Right.
So in scrapbooking, you're always taking photos, so you're always going to have photos, but
Exactly.
there can be a time where you realize, oh, I don't need to do all the photos. So how have you kind of dealt with that as you're thinking about things of coming back and starting to get ready? And, are you wanting to use a lot of the photos that you've took while you took your break, or are you thinking, I mean, I know you've already touched on doing the wedding series, and obviously like a ton of stuff with that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was in between, but it just recently happened. So,
Well, I'm not really like, I have let go a lot of that guilt that I used to have with being caught up and stuff. Like, I have let a lot of that go over the last couple of years, because I used to kind of stress about that. And like back like 15 years ago, I used to only scrapbook chronologically, and I had to be caught up in order to scrapbook like the current day, but it's like,
yeah.
I've let go of that like so long ago. Like, I think that was probably like 10 years ago that I let
I
that
think when
go.
we met, you were still mostly scrapping
Yeah.
older photos, and I
Yeah.
remember that. And I
Yeah.
think as we've been friends, you've really, obviously
Mhm.
now, where you just do whatever. And actually it's been really fun seeing you do some old photos, like right before you kind of stopped.
Right.
You were
Yeah.
kind of digging in and finding some old photos, and that's been kind of fun, because those were photos that I see when you were first
Yeah.
starting to scrap, or similar that time frame, I should say,
Right.
when your kids were really little. And I think
Mhm.
there is a joy sometimes about going like back, way back. And that's the hard part when you just scrap like chronological and you stay consistent with that, is that
Mhm.
there's really no going back and
Yeah.
and rethinking about those times and coming at it from a different perspective. I mean, I do know that that's where like projects that like Allie Edwards does, where she focuses on stories, and I know there's a lot of other people that do that too, but that's the joy of those, I think, is that sometimes those lend a little bit better to going back and redoing photos, re-looking at those photos with a different
Yeah.
eye.
Yeah.
But anyway, I
Well,
rambled.
and I think that the reason why I stopped, especially like recently, like within the last 5 years, is that I was just getting excited about what was going on currently, and
Yeah.
like having those like excited moments. I want to scrapbook this photo. And then like that added element of, now I have my own printer and I don't have to wait 2 weeks or whatever it is to get all of my
Mm.
photos. Like, I can actually print off photos from today and sit down and scrapbook them, like, and
Yeah.
that's kind of another exciting element. Like, if something happens that day and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I think that was one of the last layouts that I made, was like Lorelai, Ashley's 5-year-old. She was running around the house in like this makeshift dress that she like put together. And I took some photos, and like I scrapbooked those photos that day. And like just being able to scrapbook those because it was such a cute moment. And like, and I love it when the kids come to me and they're like, take a photo of me, like, because they're so excited about this thing. Like, and that makes me excited that they know that I want these photos and they want me to take these photos of them. And like that's really exciting and fun. Like, And so I do love scrapbooking the older stuff, like you were saying. Like, it is kind of fun where I'm at in my life right now to like look at older photos from 15 years ago and be like, holy cow, like that's
Yeah.
so crazy, you know? Because Tinian actually just turned 15 this year, like a week ago. It was his birthday. And it's just like, oh my gosh, that was so long ago, but it feels like it was just yesterday, you know, like at the same time. Like, I don't know. So it is kind of fun now going back, like, and scrapbooking those younger photos, and also being like in a different relationship and a different mindset and remembering those things. Like, it's different now than it was even like 4 or 5 years ago, you know, scrapbooking those photos, because I was still with their dad and still in that same
Just
mindset.
place. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of fun to go back, and then also being able to share those memories with Ashley, now my wife, and like telling her stories from when my kids were little, because she didn't really know them at all, you know, like they were all teenagers, or you
Yeah.
know, and so it's
Yeah.
exciting to tell her
That
that.
evolution of
Yeah.
what they've become, because now, like, especially once your kids become teenagers, they're people, not to say that little kids aren't people, because they for sure have
Big
personalities, but they
personalities.
really like grow into who they're going to become. So when you see them as teenagers, there's elements that they still have to let go of, but you see a whole different version of what they were like when they're free, you know. It's like
Right.
why we say kids are free, you know, like
Yeah.
because there's just a lot of things that you don't even have to worry about, that you shouldn't have to worry about when you're a kid. So
Right. Yep.
you know, and you're still very much a byproduct of whatever situation that you're in when you're
Oh, yeah.
like that, you know. It's like learning how to navigate life and whatever situation that you're in. So you become a byproduct of that, whether it's your parents, whether it's a lot other adults in your life, whether, you know, the situations around those really dictate kind of how you act as a child. And then as you know, get older, you kind of can learn to separate those things and figure out like who I want to be in this. I mean, and you're still learning it as a teenager, but you're really in in that mindset. But so yeah, I know that I have never been a scrapbooker who has to do it in order. So even coming back, I was like, but so there was a little bit of like, do I want to go back and do some of the stuff? And I think I do, but I think it's more like snippets of things that I'm like, oh, I should scrapbook that, or that, like that event that we did, or that thing that we did, as opposed to like going back and like doing anything chronological. Because actually, in a lot of ways, I wasn't taking a lot of photos because it was just so chaotic, and just kind of like probably what you were learning. And I think that's the nice thing about taking a break, is it gives you that time to almost unplug, and you don't feel like you have to take photos for the purpose of documentation. You take photos because you want to. You're enjoying what you're seeing. Sorry, I gotta take my shoes off. I don't know what. I'm inside. I've been inside all afternoon. But anyway, so what was I saying? I lost track.
And I don't know what you were saying either, because I've lost it now.
Yeah. It's just nice to not like worry about like, oh, that's what I was saying. I was saying that the joy of taking a break is being able to disconnect and really kind of get, almost in a way, it's more about you as the artist and as a scrapbooker. I'm just into the creative identity part a little bit, because you really can take that time to figure out like what you're about, and like, and kind of work through some things without feeling like you have to say things or document things. And so you're doing it based on pleasure. And I think that there's a good thing that comes from that, because you hold on to the things that matter and you let go of the things that don't. Right. And there is something just, I think, for me, that was freeing about that. It's like, does it suck that I feel like I lost some of that time? Because it's like, I think about what was I waiting so long for, but I really needed that time to like just let go of that to get to a place where I'm at now. Because I think if I had forced it before, like you were saying, like really being intuitive and listening, if I had not listened and just did it because I felt like I needed to, then I don't think I would have learned the things that I needed to learn to be where I'm at now. Yeah. And to be the artist and scrapbooker that I am now, you know? So it's like this cool little journey that you can have. And not to say that everybody needs to do that, but there is just something kind of freeing about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, and it's interesting, like that because during your like hiatus and stuff, you talked, I don't know if you even remember this, like you talked a lot about how you weren't taking photos and you were just living in the moment and enjoying things, like even at Christmas time and, like holidays and stuff. And I've never, like, even before I became a scrapbooker, like I've always just taken photos. Like that's just always been part of my identity. So I don't know that I'm ever going to get to the point where I just live in the moment, because
because that's not
I find joy.
Okay.
Yeah, I find joy in taking the photos and like recording the videos and the moments and, whatever. And whereas like Ashley, my wife, she's the opposite, she lives in the moment a lot of the times, a lot like you, like, and that's great too, if that's how you can live. But I'm like, I want to remember this, like, because I know I'm going to be old someday and I'm going to completely forget about this moment. And I don't want to forget that, like even though there's going to be, times when I don't necessarily need the albums and the photos and everything, but there will be times when I'm older that I'm looking back and I want to remember when Helaman was playing soccer. Let's look at some soccer photos, or whatever. Like, and let's watch some soccer videos or whatever of the kids, because he had his last soccer game last night, and so that's like fresh on my mind. And it's like, so I took a bunch of photos and I was actually thinking about that, like, I guess I don't need to sit here and record the whole game, right? Like, but I would pick up my camera when he was playing and record him playing and stuff, but then like focus on just the game when he wasn't on the field. And I didn't record the whole game, but like I do kind of think about things like that. Like when I'm older, what's going to be the purpose of my photos and my videos? Like, because it's something that I do love doing just naturally. I've always loved photography. I've always loved home videos and stuff. And so like where you can kind of let that go, I'm kind of like, I don't think I'm ever going to let that go, even if I'm not scrapbooking it, I'm still going to be taking the photos, which is an art form and creative aspect in itself as well.
Like, don't get me wrong. I love to look back at the photos. I do like to take photos.
Oh, yeah.
But I also know that I want to be in the moment and I get caught up in it. And then I don't think, it's like in the moment, I'm not always thinking. That's not my first reaction, which is just how my personality is. And I think the way I think about it is like, I don't want to be spending moments that I could be creating memories, looking back at memories that aren't there. I mean, yes, there's something about looking back, and there's something like my grandmother just died. So there is a lot of like, remembering all the things, but like life changes and grows and moves, and I want to continue to move and grow with it. And I want to continue to make the memories, and I don't want to be so caught up in the past to not be able to go into the future. And there's a big part of me that's like, I don't want to be that. I know people like that. I have family members who are that all they want to do is be like, oh my gosh, I wish it was like back then. But it's like, but we have this great ability to have these awesome other moments if we're not stuck in the past. And not to say that you're not like that, but I don't want to get like that.
Right.
I don't want to be that kind of person. I'm not that kind of person. So for me, I'm like, oh, I'll have the opportunity to make new moments and to remember those. And and there's that denial in my mind that like I'll always remember them. It's like, if it was important to me, I'll remember it, which is ludicrous because my memory is for sure going already. But I will say being crafty and creating definitely helps my memory so much more. And I think a lot of it is that going back and taking the time to look back. So there's like this adequate time to look back. And that's where, like, I don't mind doing that in my room. Like, oh, I get that, but anyway, it's just fun to see how like we all process and do things differently. That does motivate our reason why, and it does motivate how we do things crafty or and how that looks in different areas. And I think that can be a good way for us to use as like a guide, going, okay, well, I know that this is important to me, so I'm going to do something creative in this aspect because this is important to me, and I think that's one of the things that can help us not feel so bogged down and burdened is when we're doing it out of love and like we're not fighting against all these things because we're trying to make it fit, as opposed to, oh, this is part of who I am, and so I get joy out of it and it fills my cup.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I think that break kind of just helps you remember and makes it a little bit clearer. Like, oh yeah.
Definitely. I agree. I definitely, because like now that we've had all of these kind of big milestones, because I mean, that was one of the reasons we were trying to sell our house. We were, getting ready to be married and have the wedding, and the kids were finishing school, and we were doing all this stuff with custody, and it was just so crazy. And so like now that we're kind of past all of those things, it's like, okay, now I feel like I can breathe again. I have time. I'm not so stressed. Like, it's not like an extra thing on my to-do list. It's fun again.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because like I've been able to have the intentional like talks and plans with you, and it's kind of funny because I'm like totally a type A and a type B personality. Like I can be so go with the flow, like it's crazy, and then other times I have to have a list and I have to have a plan. Like I'm like, it's so weird because I feel like a lot of times you either are type A or type B, like you have the list or you go with the flow, but it's like I'm kind of like a bit of both. And I can see that like right now, like I'm like, I do want to just jump in and do it. But at the same time, I know if I don't have a plan and I'm not intentional, it's not going to happen, or it's going to get too overwhelming, or, all of these things. So it's been really fun the past couple of weeks, just like talking about it and planning, and I think like even getting ready to do this podcast again, like that's kind of spearheaded like, oh yeah, let's do this, Well,
and I know when I brought it back up to you, I was like, only if you're ready, because I don't want you to feel like it, like I don't want to add to your list when it's not a good time for you to, like while you're still figuring it out. But with that said, I've missed my crafty bestie, and I love that we get to talk about it. And the days that we only talk about life stuff, as much as I love that, because we know we have each other's back for whatever we're going through, but it's just so sweet to have a crafty person. So this is your PSA, guys. If you do not have a crafty person, then hit us up and we'll either match make you with someone or I don't know. There's always
we'll find you someone.
But no, there's just something about having crafty besties that you can just like really pick and learn and grow from each other. It's this like sharpening of your tools when you're around other people. And like, especially in our case, that, you know, us being friends for 10 or 11, 12 years, something like that now, is like we really know each other also. So it's like we can add in some like, well, hey, don't forget about this. Because it's like when we were starting to talk about the series, you're like, I don't know. Like, and I'm like, well, what about this and this? And then you start thinking about like, oh, and then getting excited about doing your pictures and like, I'm not sure. And I'm like, well, don't forget, like we can make this whatever we want. Like it doesn't have to be in this box that you think like, you know, it just like really reminding you, like, we don't have to have this list of things that we have to do. We can do it however, because it's our series.
Right.
Like, the whole point is to get excited about documenting the moments that we've made, you know? And so it's like, and I know for me, I've not scrapbooked my wedding. And so I was like, hey, this is a great time for me to like maybe sit down and actually get some more than just a layout or so done. And because sometimes I need that motivation to like start something, even though I know it's just because I have a list of things that I know I want to do. And sometimes I have that, I just can't pick just one thing. One thing. Okay. So we are kind of getting to the point where we want to start winding up. So let's or winding down, I should say. We're not winding up. We're not going all night tonight. Sorry.
Sorry.
But that will be for another night.
Yes.
Megan has some stuff, and tomorrow I would like to absolutely get stuff done because I have had a busy couple of weeks preparing for a work thing. And like I feel like my brain has all been a whole lot mushy, so which is not good for creating for me. I don't know about you, but like when I got a lot of stuff going on, it's just not. It's just hard. So I have to do other things that are creative. Okay, so tell me a tip that you would give to someone who feels maybe not sure if they're gonna intimidated to get restarted, or a tip about like maybe that initial thought of like, do I want to take a break? Is this a good thing? So kind of give me some kind of nuggets of goodness that we can take away from today.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this today because like we're in the industry where it's like go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And so it's hard because you just want to be a part of that. There's that FOMO there. You don't want to miss out.
For sure. I'm like already starting to think about Christmas stuff. I'm like, oh, Christmas stuff are coming. Like, what is everybody else going to start doing? Like, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to be the trendsetter, or do I want to follow everybody? Like, you know. Anyway.
Yeah. So like, don't be afraid to do your own thing would be my thing. Like, which I know is so hard, but like, trust your own intuition. If you need to take a step back, do it. If you have taken on too much, like, well, and I've found like people in this community are so supportive. Like, yes, they're gonna miss you, you know, like whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, like if you just need to take a step back, like do it. Everybody's going to be there for you when you come back, and they're going to love you when you come back. Like, and that's the thing that's kind of been so surprising for me, I guess, because I mean, I never really left the community fully like you did. I was still kind of there and lurking, but it's like when I came back this year, everybody, like I had a bunch of people that were like, Megan, like, oh my gosh, like I'm so excited you're back. And I'm like, oh, okay, like people really do care about me, like, you know, and like they do want to see my crafty stuff, but they totally understand like life is life. You know, we all have to do it however we have to do it. So don't like think you're going to let anybody down, or, you know, like do something for you. And I guess that's really what I'm learning this year overall, is just self-care is important, whether it's, you know, only doing one layout a week or doing zero, or, you know, whatever, like however you need to take your step back, do it. Get off of social media totally, or just get on once a week, or, you know, like whatever works for you, do it and give yourself that care, because you will come back and you will feel so much better. Like, because I mean, I didn't even really take that long of a break, 3 or 4 months, you know, but like I feel so much better now, and I feel stronger as a person, like, and emotionally, like I feel so much healthier, and like my life feels put together. Whereas like 4 months ago, I was kind of going crazy, like I felt like everything was falling apart, you know, and like it's just it's hard to be human.
I know, right?
And I'm like 42. I should already know this, right? But it's like you go through seasons in your life and you're like, why is this so hard right now? And it's just is life. Like
it is. Yeah, we're not given necessarily an easy journey in our life.
right.
Like sometimes we do, sometimes we have
It's
long
easier.
periods of time. Sometimes we learn it really easily.
Yep.
But a lot of us don't. And I think that sometimes, and I know we've been lucky, at least I feel lucky. I was talking to my boss's mom recently, because she was feeling a little bit down about how things are. And I was like, you know, I feel like we in America have been really blessed with having a very easy way of living for quite a while. And it is hard to go from that to an unknown place, right? And I was like, but I know that I was given the tools in this easy time to learn how to deal with whatever life gives us. And it's like, it's all about perspective and reminding yourself to like, to pivot, you know, and go, okay, how can I look at this differently, so that, you know, because I do have the qualities, you know, to get through the hard stuff. It isn't always going to be easy. And there's people who have went through immensely harder things than I have ever been through. But so but with that said, when you take the time to care for yourself and do the hard work sometimes of that groundwork, it just makes things a lot easier, because you can make better decisions that will help things be a little bit easier.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And like, if we're focusing on more like scrapbooking wise, just listen to yourself. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I could say. Like, don't care about what everybody else thinks, which I know is hard sometimes. Like, you want everybody to like you. Like, I don't know, like there's a little part of me that's like, oh, I want everybody to like me, and I, you know, all these things. I don't want to let anybody down. But it's just like, in the grand scheme of things, I'm the most important person. Me, you know, like be selfish. Like, yeah, we have kids and we have family, and you know, like all of these things, but it's like, really, we do, in order to succeed in the rest of our life, like we need to take care of ourselves. We need to do the self work, the self-care, and taking a step back for me was the answer this time. But, you know, like maybe in the future, if I get overwhelmed, maybe taking a step back will look differently. Maybe I won't have to completely get out of it, you know, like maybe I could let go of a couple things. And like, and that's kind of the nice thing, is you are the best judge of what you can handle. And so like, just don't worry about what anybody else is thinking, you know, like, and it's funny because Ashley, my wife, she was like, Megan, don't give up the podcast. Like, I want you to still do that, because she knows that I love doing this. But I was like, no, like, you know what? I think I need to just take a break from everything and then I'll revisit it. I'm not giving up on it, like I'm not
Yeah.
walking
Oh, I
completely
wasn't going to
away.
give up on it, but I knew you needed
And
your
I
time.
know. Yeah,
And
exactly.
I knew you weren't going to take as much time as I needed. I needed a lot of a different time because and it's interesting because we went through completely similar but different situations.
Yeah.
But I really felt like for me, because I had lost myself so much in the other part of my world, that I knew that I could easily get back to me in the scrapbooking world, but I needed to live without worrying about anything else and worrying about me and my kids and figuring out how I was going to do life, because I had no idea. It's like I was all on my own and hadn't been for 13 years. And so it was a big change that I had to make, and I'm glad I did it. It was scary, but I knew I had to do it. But I had to do it in a sense. I felt like I had to do it alone because it was me. It was me figuring out, like, who do I want to be in this situation? And I knew if I was too much involved in too much other things, that I would let these other things tell me who I was, and that's not what I needed. So like I just confirmed that, you got to listen to what you are. And sometimes it's you have to get it quiet to figure out, what do I really think? What do I really need? Sometimes we quiet all those noises. And sometimes we don't. So, but I think deep down inside, we all know what we have to do, and you just start doing it. One foot in front of the other. And that's the thing, is when you're crafty, you're going to find ways eventually for it to come out in other ways. So, so I'm going to give my tip real quick and then we'll end so that we can go do other stuff in our lives. But I was going to say my tip would be, when you start coming back, to really be honest with yourself. So this is once again looking at yourself.
Yeah.
And start by making and setting reasonable goals that are, what was it? There was another word in my brain and I lost it. Like goals that are like really set in reality. Sometimes we get so excited and optimistic about what we could do that we take on way more than what we're ready for. And so that's my goal, or the goal that I've had for myself, and it's been very helpful. And I know I've taken on a lot, and I've really kind of had to scoochie back a little bit, but I also know that I love what I'm doing now, and it's not in the capacity that I thought. It's like I would absolutely love more time, but I also know that I want more time for other things. So setting goals, setting realistic goals for yourself, and say, if you know that you can only do one layout a week, or you can only do one layout every other week, just let it be that. If it's, you can only do this one thing, you can only set a half an hour aside to clean your room, to go through your stuff, to restart. And it's because when you set those reasonable goals and the goals that are like actually livable, then as you get going, you can build the momentum and get stronger. Because at first, if you just jump in, you're gonna fall in way in. And not to say that like there's not a learning experience to it. But I think that sometimes we want to do so much, and we can get caught up in that FOMO. So don't get caught up in what you think you have to do. Like, just really be reasonable. And that's really you're only going to do that by knowing yourself. So take that time to just be honest and go, what can I actually get accomplished? What do I want to get accomplished? And sometimes that means making a whole new set of things that you want to do that are different than you did before. Or sometimes it's, oh, this is what I know worked before. I'm going to keep doing this. And so that's mine. And also just have fun. Just have fun. Because at the end of the day, this is for fun for us. It's to fill our cup. It's not to be like, oh, I have to be this person, or I have to do this thing, or accomplish this great thing. It's because it's like when we're happy and we're filling our cups, we're going to mean more to our families and the relationships and the world around us. And that's the point.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you for our TED Talk today.
We will now step down from our
So now we're going to be trying to do this. It might not be every week that me and Megan will be on, but I am going to be continuing to now be posting once a week. So that's the awesome part.
Yay.
Now that I'm not so busy, because I was getting ready for Megan's wedding, and let me tell you guys, Megan will be showing. I did a nice little album for her, and that took us a lot of my time because I just don't have a lot of time to get as much stuff because I'm doing a business, and I absolutely love that. And so it's like, I've realized like I can't do everything right now. So it's like, what do I want to do? And so it's like picky and choosy. So anyway, I'm excited for the second part of the year now that we're going to be going in, and we'll be going in, and hopefully we'll be able to have some extra guests. I know I still have some people that I want to get on that I just have to connect with now that I'm not as busy. Hopefully that'll be helpful to be able to really, and I know it's hard. It's summer. Everybody's busy in the summer. So, but maybe in one of the next few weeks we can kind of talk about like summer scrapping and like some fun stuff like that, and some things that kind of go along with the end of summer or back to school and stuff like that. But if there's anything that you guys want to hear us talk about and that you want to have these conversations, because we love to talk about scrapbooking, but we also want to talk about things that you guys care about and want to talk about, want to like kind of get into and stuff. So make sure you let us know if there's things that you guys want us to talk about, because we're here for you. We're here to inspire you guys and help you guys, and because we're a big community and we love each other. So anyway, with that, I'm going to close off the Crafty Maven Podcast, episode 22, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.